Welcome to today's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast, your channel for super easy, no-nonsense advice on how to declutter and organise your home. Please welcome your hosts, professional organisers Ingrid Jansen and Leslie Spellman.
Hello and welcome listeners to episode 125 of the Declutter Hub podcast. I'm Ingrid.
And I'm Leslie.
If you have clutter and want to sort it out, this is the show for you. Now, in today's episode, Leslie and I are talking about tidying and cleaning. What comes first? Now, Leslie, it's interesting. Again, this is one of these things you think people ask us about, can you do a podcast? And we're like, let's have it. And we're like, when we start to write things down, we got lots of things to say. This is again one of these topics, lots to tell about tidying and cleaning and where does it all fit in with decluttering and organizing and what makes sense to do first. Where do we start?
Now, the interesting thing is, Ingrid, when we first started doing our podcast, which was all the way back in October 2018, can you actually believe that?
No.
I know. It's now 2021. That was 2018, 19, 2020. That's 4 years. That's spanning 4 years that we've done this. Anyway, it wasn't our first podcast. Our first podcast was a kind of hello one from me and you, wasn't it? But number 2 was the difference between decluttering, organising and tidying. It is so important to get that right. And so many people muddle all 3 of those together. As well as it being our number 2 or number 1 then actually podcast, we also cover that at length in what we call our Before You Start course in our membership. So before anybody gets stuck into decluttering, when you get into our membership, it's like being a kid in a sweet shop, isn't it, Ingrid? There's so many lovely things and we're like, nope, can't do that. You've got to do the Before You Start course before you do anything. So you learn the fundamentals. And one of those fundamentals is working out what's decluttering, what's organising and what is tidying, and then conversely what is cleaning, which we're going to talk about today. So there's 4 things involved in getting your house right, and where are the boundaries of those, and that's what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, that's very true, Leslie. And the thing is, we get a lot of questions as well, like, I had never realized that tidying is actually something different than decluttering and organizing, because people just kind of throw them all in one big bowl together and kind of mix them up, but they're actually different things that you need to do at different times. So let's just start at the beginning and let's just do a little recap of decluttering, organizing, and tidying, because once we've got that clear, then we can kind of go, okay, where does cleaning slot in? So tidying is all these, I'm going to put this away. I'm going to tidy up my cushions, fluff up my cushions. I'm going to put the glasses back in the kitchen to go into the hand washer, in the dishwasher. That is tidying, right? Picking up towels from the floor, putting a pair of trousers in the wash that's on the floor somewhere, just tidying up after yourself.
Yes. And I think there's a classic kind of decluttering quote, isn't Ingrid, which is, a place for everything and everything in its place. Now, if you want to think about that quote, a place for everything is the organising bit and everything in its place is the tidying bit, isn't it? Does that make sense to you? Ingrid,
Yeah.
Put it like that. And we know what we're talking about in terms of that kind of thing. But it's really hard sometimes to kind of work that out. If you're generally a messy person and you've not quite got it nailed down, you're like, oh, that's when it gets confusing, isn't it? Because you're not quite sure which bit of it you should be doing and why and when, and which bit comes first and so on.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you look at that quote, a place for everything, everything is place, nobody talks about decluttering. But if you actually want to put something away somewhere, you need to have place to put it actually in. And that's why you need to declutter those cupboards, those wardrobes, those drawers, those understairs cupboards, so the stuff that is out can be put away somewhere.
So the interesting thing is, Ingrid, that there's actually a pre-bit of that. There's actually a thing that comes before a place for everything and everything is place, which is that you need to find a space that's big enough. So you have to declutter it first to make sure that the volumes of stuff that you've got are not too big to put them away. So tricky. It is tricky. And I can understand why people get confused by it.
Yeah. And the thing is, then you got cleaning in the mix. But of course, you clean daily, probably weekly, monthly, yearly. But then when you're decluttering and organizing, you're cleaning too. And it's a bit like, when do you clean actually? So how does this work with cleaning? So for example, if I declutter a cupboard in my house or a drawer in my house, I take everything out and I give that drawer a clean. I hoover it and then I wipe it with a damp cloth. And then I put stuff back in. So I use that moment. I'm not going to do a massive spring clean at that moment, but I'm thinking to myself, if that is empty, that's the perfect opportunity just to give it a wipe. So you don't have to see all the cleaning as these ginormous tasks that you do once or twice a year. You can just, when you empty your kitchen cupboard, you think, I'm going to look at my herbs today, take out your herbs, give that shelf a wipe. That is cleaning too. The decluttering is you're going through your herbs and you're deciding, what am I keeping and what is out of date, or what do I never eat and what can go? The organizing is, how is the structure going to be when I put the herbs back? And am I going to put them back in loose? Am I going to get a little box from somewhere? I don't care, an empty shoebox. How am I going to organize it back in? And then the project's done. And then you can go, let me now also give the outside of this kitchen cupboard a clean, because I've done this kitchen cupboard now. So some things kind of, they're separate tasks, but they're all kind of interconnected with each other. And just because you're doing one thing, decluttering, doesn't mean you can do a little bit of cleaning by just giving that shelf a wipe at the same time.
So let me just throw another spanner in the works to complicate things even further, Ingrid. We're supposed to be unraveling it, but I feel like I'm throwing all these things in. But I think it's useful to go through it for people so that people understand. And so at the Declutter Hub, we talk a lot about resets, don't we? We love a reset, a daily reset, a weekly reset, a seasonal reset. And we talk about that all the time. And so when we're doing, let's just say a daily reset then, is that then decluttering, organizing, tidying, or cleaning?
For me, a daily reset is a combination of tidying and cleaning. So a daily reset for me is that after breakfast, I make sure that all the breakfast items are put away in my kitchen and that I wipe my table. So that is tidying the items from breakfast away, but then wiping the table to make sure that when I do my next meal, which is lunch, I don't have to sit on a table full of crumbs and breakfast leftovers and milk stains or whatever. So I give a quick wipe of that table. In the evening, in my daily reset, and I do one in the evening as well, after dinner, everything gets put in the dishwasher, and then the dishwasher gets turned on, and then I wipe my kitchen sides with my microfiber cloth. So I tidy away all the dirty plates, I wipe the sides. And then once or twice a week, I tell the kids to hoover the floor. And so that's kind of part of my weekly reset. We don't do that daily because, you know, when you've got like small kids, you do like that 3 times a day. You're like hoovering. But when you've got like us, we're all like older now. We don't need to hoover on a daily basis. Maybe when you've got pets, you probably have to hoover on a daily basis. So there's a combination of tidying and cleaning. But when I am doing my daily reset, I'm not decluttering, because a daily reset should maybe take 10, 15 minutes. So I really do only my tidying and cleaning in a daily reset.
But now I'm going to throw another spanner in the works, Ingrid.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to go back to our sorting out socks podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my daily reset then is doing the laundry, folding, ironing, getting it out. If I then saw a sock with a hole in it, then I would declutter that and put it in my donation. Interesting, huh?
Yes.
See, I'm keeping you on your toes.
Yeah. You make a good point there, because I do my laundry in a weekly kind of routine. So I do kind of do laundry every day, but I do the folding one time a week. I just sit down and fold it all in one go. And I do indeed fish out then socks with holes or things that have got like rags on them or whatever, or shirts with funny colors, or you know what I mean. So yeah, good points. There is overlap. There is
There's
overlap.
definitely overlap. And so we can completely understand why people find that confusing.
Hmm.
But one of the things that we want to make really clear, I guess, is that in general, you need to tidy before you can clean effectively. Yeah. It's too hard, isn't it, to clean when you've got loads of stuff hanging around. When we get a new client one-to-one and we do a consultation, quite often they'll say, I want to get a cleaner into deep clean. When do I do that? Do I do that before you come or after? And the answer to that is categorically after. So you're going to do a deep clean, a big clean after you've done a big decluttering project. As Ingrid very rightly says, of course, we are cleaning throughout the project, because there's no point in us putting things back into drawers or onto shelves without giving it a quick wipe first. That just doesn't make any sense. And so we do the cleaning during, but in general, the kind of big deep clean, wiping the walls, doing the windows, all those kind of things, that comes after we've done a big decluttering project, because that's the most sensible time to do it.
It's interesting because I would indeed, those deeper cleaning projects, like, for example, doing all the doors or washing the windows on the inside or cleaning all my lamps, I would normally not combine that when I'm decluttering. But when I'm decluttering my daughter's clothes and I empty her wardrobe and I let her try on stuff, I would give that wardrobe a clean. But I would not in that same afternoon then think, let me do all the lamps or let me wash all the windows. I see that as a separate cleaning project that you need to have time for and energy for. And if I've already done her wardrobe, I'm like, okay, that's enough now for today. The windows will have to be done tomorrow or next week or on another time. So I try to divvy out those jobs over time. And that's why I rather do a little project on a Sunday and a little project on a Saturday than kind of having, okay, I haven't done anything for 4 weeks. And now I'm the whole weekend from 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night, 2 days in a row, I'm doing all these things and completely tire myself out. I like that combination of let me just do 2 hours here or an hour or 3 hours. Then the rest of the day is spent doing other things. And then tomorrow I'll do something different. So I combine that a lot.
So I'm going to ask you a question. What do you prefer? What gives you the most joy, Ingrid? Tidying or cleaning?
Oh, oh, hmm. Oh,
I know
that's
what my answer is. I know what my answer is. But you say yours first. Go on. I'll let you say yours first because I asked you.
Oh, I actually don't know. I actually like them both. I do. You know what? The thing is, I actually don't mind cleaning a lot. I do have two lovely cleaning ladies helping me with my house because my husband and I both work full time. So it's just like there's only so many hours in the day. So I have cleaning ladies helping me, but it's not because I don't like cleaning at all. It's like I really want to have my house clean to quite a good standard because I just like being in a clean house. And I know I can't do that all by myself. So I have enlisted some help. I have a window cleaner who not only cleans the outside of my windows, but also the inside of my windows 4 times a year. And he comes 4 times a year to do the outside. So both. So I'm like, okay, when you're coming around, you have to do both in and outside because I like that. And I live on a busy road with a lot of buses and traffic. So for me, I like having that clean windows because it's just important to me. And my cleaning ladies come every 2 weeks and help me with all those chores that have to be done. So it doesn't all fall on me and the kids and my husband because there's so many things that need to be done throughout the house. But actually, if you actually say to me, Ingrid, do you not like cleaning? Not at all. I love cleaning a bathroom or wiping some floors or dusting some down or ironing or it doesn't bother me. I think it's just part of my life. I don't, you know what? I just don't want to go all the time. Oh gosh, I have to do that. I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, it just has to be done. Let's just do it. Then it's done with, and then I can enjoy my nice clean house and sit down. So how about you? What do you like more then?
Can you not guess?
I have a feeling that I know what this is.
Yeah, it's definitely tidying. So tidying is definitely the thing that makes me tick. So I love what I call pottering around, I love doing my little daily resets on a Saturday morning. It does bring me joy. It's really sad, isn't it? I know it is. To just put things away and put shoes where they should go and hang things up. And if things have got out of place, put them back, put the wash, even if I don't put all the washing on, just to put it in the laundry room so it's all ready to go. I get great satisfaction, and it's something that I find quite grounding, just that kind of I find it quite calming. I love having a clean house. Of course I do. Like you, Ingrid, I'm really lucky. I've got people helping me with the cleaning, but I don't get as much satisfaction out of a clean space if I'm cleaning it myself, that is, than I do the tidying. I love, if ever I'm kind of feeling a little bit stressed or anything, a nice tidy up is going to really calm me down. And so I definitely prefer the tidying side of things than the cleaning.
So do you tidy up before the cleaners come?
Yes, categorically. Yeah. So they were here today, actually. So last night I went round and I make sure that, like in the kids' bedrooms, they just have stuff, don't they, on their desks and just loads of stuff. Like my bedroom's reasonably clear and everything's got a place. But I just think kids have, like my daughter's got makeup everywhere and just stuff, on works, which is fine. It's containerized. It's all fine and stuff. But I need to make sure that, Nathan's guitar picks that he plays guitar with are all in their place, and all the pens are in the pot and all the papers are all gathered together and in a little in tray, which normally it's up to them how they manage their space normally. But I want my cleaners to be able to clean. I don't want to waste my money and their valuable time for them to tidy. I want them to clean, which is what they're there for. So I will spend at least half an hour or an hour before they come to make sure that they've got a complete sort of blank canvas to work with.
Yeah, I do exactly the same, Leslie. That's interesting. I also, if I know that my cleaners come, I don't know, the Wednesday morning, I make sure that Tuesday evening, I do an extra run through the house just to make sure that everything is tidy, because when it's tidy, they can clean better, they can hoover better, they can scrub the bathrooms better, because it's their job to clean. And I don't want them to move all this stuff around, because a lot of cleaners have to work around stuff. So, for example, when I was the head of facilities management of a company in Holland many, many years ago, and I was in charge of the headquarters, and I actually said to the whole office, especially on the days when the cleaner would come after work, I'm like, guys, please make sure that you have a relatively clean desk. Let's make sure that all in our kitchen, that's for everybody, for the whole staff. Let's make sure it's tidy, because the tidier it is, the better they can clean, the more we can, all of us, enjoy the space. And if your desk is super messy, or if the kitchen that we all share is super messy, they can't do a proper job. And I've had so many clients say to me, oh my gosh, Ingrid, I can't believe it. I have a cleaner, but my house is still chaotic. How is that possible? And I'm like, because they're there to clean and they're not there to declutter and organize and tidy up for you. Yes, they will probably put all the papers on one pile so they can actually wipe a desk somewhere, but you're not getting anywhere. You're going to need to take charge of that decluttering, that organizing, and the less stuff you have out and things can be actually put away, the happier you will be with your cleaner, because they can do a good job cleaning. How can I do a good job cleaning and hoovering if you've got stuff on the floor everywhere? They can't do a good job. And that's when your house feels not clean.
Yeah, I think you make a really interesting point there, because a lot of people, as well as I do, Ingrid, that it's on people's way. I mean, we're lucky. We count ourselves as very lucky that we've got help, of course.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are like, I would love a cleaner. And what they really mean by that is, I would love somebody to just take all these chores of tidying and cleaning away from me and do that for me. And that, unfortunately, is not going to happen. They're there to clean. I mean, some cleaners will absolutely do tidying. I think one of the things that is really useful for cleaners is to sort of lay the groundwork. So there's two things that you can do. You can do if you have a cleaner, or if you're going to clean yourself. So equally, if you feel like Saturday morning's your day for cleaning, or if you're going to do certain rooms on certain days, then pre-plan. So whether you've got someone helping you or whether you're going to do it yourself, do that tidy up yourself before, so that you can really hit the ground running when you set to and do your cleaning. I think you can either tidy up before, or if you have cleaners or yourself, for example, and you find things that are out of place while you're doing your cleaning, as long as it's not completely out of control and you've got huge volumes, if things are not where they should be, put them all on your bed, do your cleaning, and then return back to your room at the end and put things away at that point. It's better to do it before, but if you can't get to it before, make sure that you are gathering all those things together and you are making a conscious decision to return back to them and put them away after.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think then you can focus on the cleaning and then do the other jobs, have them already done before, preferably. But if that was not the case or not possible, you can then do that after. So you do one thing at a time when you're just out doing the surfaces and the window sills and the radiators and maybe your skirting boards. And of course, there are things like
You're scaring everyone, Ingrid. You're scaring everyone. You're talking about washing windows, skirting boards, and cleaning radiators. A lot of people are like, are you actually joking? It takes me all my time to just run a cloth around my work surface and run a hoover around. Let's just take it back to a normal level. Yes, we do those things, radiators and windows and stuff, but we're not all Ingrid Jansen here, like who's doing those things every week. Just back down, lady. You're scaring everybody off with your cleaning. Okay.
But you know what it is? I mean, the one time you just do the flat surfaces, quick wipe, nothing, nothing too serious. And another time you think, you know what? I am now going to also give my lamp a wipe, and I'm going to wipe the front of my radiator, and I'm going to do the skirting boards. That's not what you do all the time. There are weeks when it's just a quick wipe around, so it will have to do when you've got a super busy weekend. But there will come a time you have to think, you know what? This quick wipe is now nice, but now there's like a really layer of dust on everything else. I'm going to hoover around and give it some extra bits and bobs. I mean, it's the same, you do your ceilings twice a year, probably with a bit of a ceiling brush. There's not something you do on a weekly basis. But when it's spider season, you're like, okay, now it's maybe time to take my hoover around the house and just kind of get all the spider webs off the ceiling.
I can't remember the last time that I brushed my ceiling. I'm not going to lie. I'm sat here feeling like a very inferior person. I'm like, no, I don't brush my ceilings for spiders twice a year. Are you mad? Like, this is like, I knew this was a bad idea. We're supposed to be encouraging people, and you're scaring people off, Ingrid, with your cleaning standards.
Okay, well, let's just then agree on this, Leslie. If you're hoovering, just hoover a couple of bit extra every once in a while. When you're hoovering and you're like, right, when I'm hoovering now, in this room, I'm just going to look up and at the ceiling. I'm going to look at my skirting boards, and I'm going to run a hoover over my radiator. Done. Boom. Next time, let me do another room. Everybody always thinks that you have to do everything for hours and hours. Not at all. Just break it down. If the other day I had to hoover and I did the upstairs of the house, and then a couple of hours later I did the stairs and the downstairs of the house. I don't do it all in one go. You break it down in small bits. And the one time I'm doing, let me do the skirting boards. And the other time I think, let me just wipe some of the doors a little bit. And the other time I think, let me just do a couple of radiators.
You're doing it again. Please stop. I've already told you once, and you're doing it again. Now just stop.
I do like cleaning. I do like it.
I'm just gonna write. What can I do? What can I do to get you off cleaning? I'm gonna start right. I'm gonna go back to tidying. Right. Now I'm going to ask you one more question about cleaning. Please stop talking about the spiders and radiators and skirting boards, okay?
Right.
We'll talk about the standard things here. So when do you think one should clean? So you've said you think you should break it down. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have the opportunity to clean every day. If you're working, you don't have the opportunity. Yes, you can do your daily resets. You can do little bits of cleaning as you go
Mm-hmm.
as part of your daily reset. But ordinarily, so for me, for example, when my cleaners are not here, then I do it on a Saturday morning and I set to and I do the whole house all at once. That's just the way that I want to do it. And I've got the energy to do that. I know that I've got the energy to do that, which is very relevant. And so you have to know, in the same way that we talk all the time about tuning in to your energy when you're doing decluttering projects, you also need to do the same when you're doing a cleaning project. You need to know, right, what's going to work for me? Is it going to work for me to do 4 hours and do the whole house at once, if that's how long it would take you? Or am I better doing the living room on a Monday, the kitchen on a Tuesday, etc.? Like, what's going to work for me? Tune in and know what's suitable. Know whether help is realistic. We can all sit there and say, until we're blue in the face, we want the rest of the family to pitch in and do something. But you need to be realistic enough to know, is it harder to fight that fight and ask everybody to help, or are you just going to crack on and do it yourself? This is what you need to decide. It is wrong that people don't chip in and help you, but sometimes you're just fighting a losing battle and you just need to get on with it yourself, because the fight is harder than actually doing it. I know that's the case for me, and maybe I shouldn't say that, but for me, I learned to fight my battles. I know that my kids will chip in every now and again, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm just going to do it. It's just easier to do it myself, really. So what do you think?
I think you're really hitting the nail on the head here. You need to look at your own energy levels. Some people just are not morning people, and they're far better off doing, a cleaning job in the afternoon or in the evening. Other people work over the weekend, so they've got time during the week, or they work part-time. They work 3 or 4 days, so they've got one day during the week when nobody's there. Everybody's at school and at work, and they've got time, and they just have nobody around being in the way. So I think you have to think about, how do I fit this into my life? I think the problem is when you feel you're busy all the time and you're too tired, and you let it build up and build up and build up and build up. And then the task gets so mammoth, whether it be decluttering, organizing, cleaning, tidying. It's really important to not leave it and leave it and leave it. Even if you start with 5 or 10 minutes of cleaning and just go, you know what, I'm just going to wipe the sink and throw with a bit of bleach in the toilet. That's where I'm going to start. Or tonight, I'm just going to hoover my kitchen floor, or whatever it is. But don't let it build up so much. All those little daily tasks, that's 5 minutes here and there, really helps. But think about your own energy levels and think about, when is a good day of the week for you to be doing this. Because in the end, if you want to have a house that you feel comfortable in, and cleaning is important to you, it's all about elbow grease in the end. There's no magic cleaning fairies around that at night come around and do your house. So it's all about priorities then, I think.
Yeah, definitely. If you do like what Ingrid is talking about and want our ultimate seasonal cleaning checklist, we have a daily checklist which includes radiators. I actually don't think it includes putting your brush on a ceiling twice a year for spiders. I don't think that's on there, which is very remiss of you, Ingrid, because you didn't write that lovely cleaning checklist. You can download our checklist. We'll include that in the show notes. And it's really good, actually. It's got a very comprehensive list of things that we believe, or Ingrid believes, because she's our queen of clean, that you should be doing all the time to keep on top of your cleaning. And so that's quite useful, isn't it, Ingrid?
So to answer the question at the beginning from the podcast, tidying or cleaning, what comes first? It's definitely tidying. So
We
there you
took a
go.
long time to get to that.
Yeah.
We should have just said that, shouldn't we? That would have been so much easier than scaring people talking about spiders and things. But yes, you are right, Ingrid. Tidying comes before cleaning. Right, it's time for us to go now, isn't it? I've berated you. I've told you off so many times in this podcast, Ingrid, for scaring our lovely listeners. But it's time for me to go, because I'm going to start getting grumpy otherwise.
I know, I'm going to take it on the chin. So listeners, I know, I need some love here. She's so mean to me. So listeners, if you've enjoyed this podcast, thanks so much for listening today. And we just love it that you love listening, honestly. And if you know anybody else who wants to, you think, oh, they would really like this podcast too, tell them about our podcast and tell them about on the show notes. You can find the sharing buttons. Now, if you're not on our fabulous Facebook group yet, come and join us on our Facebook group. We've got a fantastic Facebook group, and we've got the best Facebook group members, we believe, in the whole world. So come and join us, the Declutter Hub community. Of course, you can also find us on Instagram, and we also have a Facebook page too. Now, if you'd like to know more about our membership, have a look on members.declutterhub.com to find out more. And if you don't want to miss the next podcast, just subscribe to the Declutter Hub podcast, and it will pop into your notifications each Friday. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Declutter Hub podcast. Check out declutterhub.com for more inspiration, and don't forget to tune in next week.